Welcome to the Marketing for Startups podcast. If you're trying to figure out marketing for your startup, then you're in the right place. In this podcast, we go high level, looking at the intersection of branding, data, and leadership to offer you a marketing playbook to grow and scale. Join me each week for in-depth interviews, tactical advice, and practical trainings. Hi, I'm your host, Victoria Hajar, veteran marketer and startup enthusiast. I promise to bring my experience and curiosity to each episode. Then together, we'll peel back the onion on this ever-changing discipline that is marketing. I'm so happy you're here. Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Marketing for Startups. Thank you for joining me. I'm so excited that you're here. We're going to be talking about competition, how to feel out your competition, and 3 key insights you should be looking for when you're assessing your competition. So let's go ahead and dive in. But before we do, I want to remind you that I have a free resource for all you founders out there that are working on your go-to-market strategy. This is either to launch or relaunch your product or service. I have a wonderful little checklist. So if you go to Ugly Ventures, that's UGLI Ventures, VENTURES.com /GOTOMARKET. You can go ahead and get that for free. So it's uglyventures.com /go-to-market, all one word. And it's a great resource, even if you've gone through the go-to-market strategy process, but you're thinking maybe there's an opportunity to strengthen it or to do a little bit better. I've got a lot of great resources in that checklist that'll help you think a little bit outside the box. So, moving on, let's go ahead and talk about competition. So, my first question to you is, how concerned are you about competition? How much are you really paying attention to your competitors? So I'm here to tell you that it's incredibly beneficial to keep your finger on the pulse of what your competitors are doing. But there is a little bit of a caveat here, because I don't want you to become overly concerned with what your competitors are doing day to day. Okay, there's 3 specific things I'm going to go through that I'm going to want you to focus on, because if you kind of just start drawing your attention more to following your competitors, there is a danger for getting caught in this shiny object syndrome and comparing your company to theirs. That's not really the purpose of watching your competitors. We're not here to sort of feel bad or think that we need to be doing exactly what they're doing. No, that is not it. What I'm suggesting is to be really strategic and figuring out how you can get an edge over the competition. And there's 3 specific areas that are really helpful to watch. So let's go through them now. The first one is SEO ranking. So we all know how important it is to rank well on Google, and if your website comes up before your competitors, that is going to increase the likelihood that prospects choose your website to click on as opposed to theirs. So that's all good things. But what I would love for you to do is be paying attention to exactly the words that are used for the title page of the website and the meta description, which is the couple sentences below the website name or the company name that describes a bit about what they do. And then furthermore, it's really awesome to be clicking through and taking a deep dive at your competitor's homepage, understanding what are some of the keywords, long tail keywords and phrases that they're using. And you're going to want to put your thinking cap on and sort of strategize what of those keywords or content is really relevant for your business, and how could you possibly improve your own content on your website and your own sort of back-end SEO to rank higher than your competitors. So I do suggest doing a deep dive on SEO ranking. The second deep dive that I would love for you to go into is spying on the keywords your competitors are using when they run ads. Now, there's tons of resources on and software available that will help you spy on your competitors. In fact, if you go to the show notes to this episode, I've compiled a list of 12 or 13 specific tools just for spying on different aspects of marketing for your competitors. But when we're talking specifically about ads and keywords, of course, there's several choices of how you can find out, keywords that your competitors are using. But one really easy way to do that is if you're running Google Ads in your Google My Business account, there is a feature that allows you to look up directly what competitors are putting through as ads on Facebook and Instagram. You can see how much they're spending. You can see exactly what keywords they're using. It's a really great resource. And again, there's several other websites that can do some similar digging for you. But why is this important? Well, first of all, you want to understand the keywords that your competitors are bidding for. And then you want to determine whether it's worth your time to compete with them on that specific keyword, or it will help you be a little bit more creative, a little bit more intentional to think of other keywords that are related to the keyword that you want to rank for, but perhaps your competitors are not yet thinking to bid for. So this is going to help get your ad shown more often to the audience that you're trying to target without having that level of competition with your competitors, right? Because obviously you're competing for the same audience. So that's number 2, right? Spying on the exact keywords that they're using for their ads. And this is going to help save you a lot of money. So of course, it's important to do general keyword research so you understand search volumes and how competitive the particular keywords are. But when we start pinpointing and honing in on our competitors, we become much more strategic and can be much more intentional on how we frame the copy for our ads and what keywords we're really trying to show up for. So that is number 2. And then the third thing that you really should be paying attention to and spying on your competitors for is social media. And this one is, I hope, is probably the most obvious one that everyone's doing. But again, really being keen on understanding what your competitors are doing in terms of social is really helpful for you in creating your own content, right? So taking a look at which content has gone viral or was shared or had a lot of engagement will give you an idea of the kind of content that your audience wants. Now, this is also really helpful for startups because, again, perhaps you don't have the data for your own social accounts because, you're just starting out. So by spying on your competitors and seeing what they're posting and the performance of their posts will help give you an idea of what might work for you in connecting with your target audience. So there you have it. This one's a quickie. We've got those 3 things that you should be spying on your competitors for. So just to recap, we've got number 1, which is SEO ranking on search. So that means where they're showing up in the Google search. Number 2 is keywords they're using for advertising. Okay, and there's, again, tons of resources in the show notes. And then number 3 is their social activity, right? Understanding what platforms they're on, understanding which platforms are maybe most popular with the audience, what exact content they're putting through that's getting a lot of response from the target client, which is also your target client. So all of this stuff is going to help you save money and also save a ton of time. And maybe you're listening to these suggestions and rolling your eyes and saying, okay, this is so obvious. And maybe it is. And sometimes we need to just hear those basics, right? Because a lot of business is about mastering the basics. A lot of marketing is about mastering the basics. But I find that even if we know these things on a cerebral level, it's quite another thing to put it into action. So my hope with distilling these three simple metrics and three simple categories to be tracking, along with giving you those tons of resources in the show notes, it can help you to operationalize doing this. And I'm going to leave you with this last note. I think it's really helpful to go through this process of sort of finding out these key pieces, these key components I've mentioned here today in the beginning of your startup journey, right? When you're first kind of laying out your mission and values. I love to also do a competition analysis when we're sort of building our business case and building our business strategy. It's so helpful. But it's also something that you should revisit, once, twice a year, or maybe every quarter. You kind of look at some of your assumptions, you look at some of your competitors and see, is this still a direct competitor? You can ask yourself, because business changes so fast, right? And as we're sort of pivoting and learning more about our clients and developing our products, things may shift and change. So it is really helpful to kind of have that touchstone every couple of months and just make sure that the competitors that you have in your mind are actually still competitors. So that's it for this week. I can't wait to see you back here next week. Hope you have a restful and beautiful weekend, and keep on going, founders. You're doing great.
You did it! You made it to the end of the episode. Thanks for sticking around with me and listening all the way to the end. I really appreciate you as an audience member, and I hope that you found this helpful. If you did like this episode, it would mean so much to me if you subscribed, if you rate and review this podcast. It helps other people know that this podcast has something worth saying. It also would be super awesome if you could take a screenshot and share on Instagram and tag me at Ugly Ventures, UGLI Ventures, VENTURES. I am always so appreciative to hear from you, and I hope to see you back here next week on the Marketing for Startups podcast.